Tyler Herro, this season leads the NBA in 20-point, 25-point, and 30-point games off the bench. Go ahead and give him Sixth Man of the Year right now, but it's just a part of the reason that this team, Shanae, is so deep in Miami.
Yes, I know we talk a lot about certain teams in the East, Brooklyn and Philly after the trade deadline, Milwaukee, the defending champs, but it's time to talk about the Miami Heat because they are #1 in the conference standings and they do it consistently by committee. And surprisingly, it starts with the bench. Let's talk Tyler Herro. Here's what you need to know. Tyler Herro has 6 games with 30 points off the bench so far this year, twice as many as any other player in the league. You know the saying, shoot or shoot. Tyler's on pace to average the most shots off the bench in the last 25 years. So let's take a look. Roll me my tape producer, Jaron, today. All right, you know he loves to get to his right, so there's a nice little double brush screen. And look at how the Lakers defense is keyed in on his right hand. You've got Russ, you've got Dwight, you think that nothing is possible. Next level of development is that counter move, and he goes to the left. Very beautiful. All right, another play here. Loves going to the right, calls for the screen, sees down low that the paint and the mid-range is open. Look at the package right here to get to his mid-range. Bam.
That's
nice
tough.
Little hot step. Thank you, Richard. That's very tough.
That's tough.
But this is why he is important. He is the consistent scorer out there. He's played more games than Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle Lowry. And speaking of which, those 4 guys have only played 76 minutes together. So Tyler has helped hold it down, especially in the clutch. So let's look at this right now. In the clutch time, here's the tape. I mean, look how tough this shot is. 2 hands in the face, bam. They were down 1, now they're up 2. That's Tyler Herro.
Yeah.
So not only is Tyler Herro getting buckets, but he's knocking down the ones that matter most. He is tied for the 3rd most go-ahead threes in clutch time since he entered the league. This has been crucial because the Heat, like many teams, haven't always had their stars available. But let me tell you guys, they do have a hero.
Ooh, they have a hero. So this is interesting, all right? We were talking earlier about teams that could crash the NBA Finals and maybe win the championship, in the East specifically. We've mentioned a path for the Nets. We talked about the Bucks, obviously, and you talk about the Sixers. If they were to play the Heat, all of those teams would have the best player on the team, and it wouldn't be Miami. Like, no, Jimmy Butler would not be considered the best player on the floor of any of those other teams we just mentioned. So how, RJ, could they be a legitimate contender to win it all without a superstar every time they step out?
Because they're pushing in the same direction. They always push. That's one thing that you don't question when you're talking about Miami. You don't question coaching. You don't question front office. You don't question roles. They all know it. And we, on NBA Today, we were talking about most improved. We were talking about defensive play. The reason why we didn't talk about Sixth Man of the Year is because that's already wrapped up. That is the one statistical thing
minus 4,000 right now.
Doesn't need to be discussed. And that is Tyler Herro being Sixth Man of the Year. The rest of the stuff is by committee. They are a great team. They remind me similarly of Phoenix. If Phoenix were to go all the way, how many times would Phoenix have the best player on the floor? Like Chris Paul, high level, Devin Booker, high level. But if they play against the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round, they're not going to have the best player on the floor. That'll be LeBron James. So when I look at teams like Miami, it's how good they are collectively, and then their individual talents stand out.
Hey, Perk, let me say this before you start. This is no disrespect in any way whatsoever to Jimmy Butler by saying he would not be the best player on the floor. Because when they were in the bubble and they reached the finals, he played his heart out for that team to even have a chance. So that is not slander on Jimmy Butler, just saying in terms of superstars, he would not be the first guy fans, coaches, whomever would look for in that matchup. So with that said, Perk, how do you see Miami's chances of winning it all?
Oh, it's very high. And look, you don't have to apologize because this is a team sport, right? So you got to get it done collectively. And it takes me back to the 2004 Detroit Pistons, right? They got it done collectively. They play a gender-free basketball. So it may be one night you see Kyle Lowry, he may have 25. Then the next night it might be Jimmy Butler. Next night, Bam may have a monster night. PJ Tucker might add a 12 and 10, and we know what Tyler Herro is going to do. And then you have Dedmon. I love him as a backup center, along with Gabe Vincent coming in off the bench. So I'm looking at it. They're getting it done collectively, and they have a stingy defense. Remember, we talk about offense, but defense win championships.
And they just got Victor Oladipo back, which is great. And when we talked about Coach of the Year, we didn't mention Coach Spo, which he feels like he's always a candidate.
We don't have to mention him.
I know, but I had some Heat fans in my mentions, so I was like, all right, let me do that.
But the 2004 Pistons may be the best comparison team because that team beat the Lakers, had 4 Hall of Famers on it. Granted, Karl Malone was injured at the time, but Shaq and Kobe were fine. Well, not together they weren't fine, but physically they were fine. and the Pistons got the championship there in 2004.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.